Hello, y'all. Yo, hold on. I'm a little toasty. I was just outside on my balcony, and the sun cooked me a little bit. Well, not me, but my hoodie right there. It's black, so it's like woo warm. It's nice when it's outside where it's a little cold, but indoors it's like, oh no, thank you. No, there's a little much. So anyways, okay, so we're gonna do some self-care. You know what, ho? I swear to God, I will fight you. There. We're gonna do some self-care because I found a new dentist, and it's at the same place that I'm gonna be talking to them about like gender affirming care. So I'm definitely gonna keep that appointment, but it's not until March. Yeah. And it's okay. It's okay. That means I have to actually really take care of my teeth until then. I mean, I should have been doing that anyway, but I fell off the wagon of self-care. Anyways, we're going to do some self-care, and I'm going to share some thoughts that I had that carried on after yesterday's video about like how I was a predator's dream type person, right? But yeah, I'm gonna brush my teeth first because my mouth tastes horrible. Um, One thing about me is I refuse to believe that anything's impossible, right? And I always have. It's, you know, even when I was a kid, like, nothing is impossible. That's like a literal fact, you know? There's nothing that says that some things just can't happen, you know? Because there's always, like, they call them freak accidents for a reason. That sort of thing. And that's just one example, you know, like, that's just one type of, you know, things that I've always, I've seen some shit, okay? Also, I've always, like, that was one of the things that, always, I just figured, because nobody could tell me why I can't I, you know, just trust people? Like, these books, I've always had this mindset where it's like, well, it had to come from somewhere, you know? Okay. It had to come from somewhere. You had to be inspired by something. It didn't just come out of nowhere. You know? Especially, and you know what fueled that was the delusion I had with when it came to like the Bible, you know. Like, I don't believe that that science and spirituality should ever be separated. Because even science has proven that, like, positive mindset in tandem with proper treatment actually makes the treatment much more effective, you know? Affirmations and shit, you know? Because positive self-talk, encouraging self-talk, that is, I should say, actually has a chemical reaction in your brain and your body and whatever, you know? Like, if that's not proof that you can't separate that you shouldn't separate the two, I don't know what is. So, and when I learned that when I was in my teens, I had read some stuff. I've always been a notoriously curious mofo, okay? I am eternally curious. So I would approach everything like, you know, this person may seem like they're a piece of shit, but, you know, everybody says horrible things about me too that aren't true. So what if the things that are said about this person aren't true either? Maybe, you know, people have disliked and hated me for no reason. Maybe people dislike and hate this person for no reason, right? I mean, isn't that the perfect, you know, that's basically like, oh, yeah, no, predators don't even have to pretend like they're good people with me. And they never have. They never have had to pretend. They never had to groom me. Not after my childhood. You know? I mean, and if they do groom me, all they have to do is just, like, promise. Like, empty promises were more than enough to groom me with. And it's like, bruh, like, come on. Like, because that's all I got growing up, you know? The bare minimum was more than enough. The bare minimum was above and beyond for me. Because, like I said in yesterday's video, the guy that was molesting me, all I had to do is, you know, it wasn't even just letting him do stuff to me. I had to make sure I was clean, didn't wet the bed, you know, in order to be fed. And then he would feed me, but then he'd molest me too. So, you know, there was all that. And so that mindset of, you know, I was like, I can be a good person. I didn't want to be like the people I saw in real life. I wanted to be like the people I saw in fiction. And I was like, they didn't just create that character out of thin air, you know? They didn't just create it out of thin air. I believe that a person can be this way. And I'm going to be that person. And, you know, as I got older, into my more, further on into my adulthood, it was like, I was like, no, I can, I'm a grown up now. I can really do this. I can really embody this. Nobody treated me right. Everybody just believed the bullshit that was said about me. I'm going to show them that, yeah, no, you could be a good person too. I need one more in here, don't I? Yeah. Let me go grab that real quick. I was like, all you need is somebody to believe in you and treat you right. That's what I kept telling myself as a teen, as a child, as an adult. I would just be like, no, I will love them into, and like, no, they're just acting like that because, they're just acting out. Like, come on, bitch. They are grown-ass people. But I refuse to believe that either because I spent my entire life being like, no, you see, if you don't know any better, then you don't know any better. I could show them better. I can be a good example. Hero complex. I needed to be... I was Captain Ho, save him. Because, I called myself a hoe all the time. Because, like, yeah, Yeah, I was such a hoe. Yeah. I mean, okay, yeah, they coerced me. Like, I still said yes. Even if I didn't want to. So that doesn't count. I was definitely a hoe. That's not how that works. But something that dumb bitch counselor said to me, like, well, you're the common denominator, So, maybe you got to do some inner work. Like, and that led me to believe that maybe if I'm just, I mean, like, that just, oh my God, so much contributed into my adulthood going the way it went. Like, the way it went could not have been any different the way it did. Like, the way my childhood was, the way my entire life before adulthood went, there was... If just one thing could have been different, it wouldn't have gone that way. And I would not have... And by that, I don't mean if I had done something different. I mean, if I had just one difference, one thing different as far as the consistent input, It's consistency that's key. Feel me? It's consistency. I had a little bits here and there of, of positive reinforcement. Like that one counselor lady in another school, I was like 7th grade. They had confiscated my notebook that I was writing a story in. I was writing a book. It was halfway full. It was a little mini notebook, and it was thick. I loved notebooks that had as many pages as possible. So I had written like a few hundred pages. So I don't know how many words that is. It's a notebook. I don't have word count, okay? And when I got called to her office, she was reading that shit. Like, she was like, oh, this is so good. This is amazing. And I misunderstood what she was saying. She said, as far as effort, like, look at your brilliance. How much effort do you think you would need to put in to just do your homework assignments, to just pass your class, to just do that? 1 being the least amount of effort and 10 being the most. And I said 10, and she was just like, no, no, you're too brilliant. It's not going to take that much for you. I thought she wanted me to say 10. That's why I said that. I honestly felt like it wouldn't have been anything to do it. Like maybe a 2 or 3, because math I was bad at. So like overall the average would be like 3. Like, I don't know. But like she's like, this, you could publish this as is right there. Like you are brilliant and everything. Like, I didn't know how I didn't know how to process that. I got so much serotonin and dopamine from that meeting. And I went home and I told Mom about it. And she put a stop to those happy chemicals. Let's just put it that way. Like, if it was so easy, you would have just done it. Like, you're just lazy. If I had any consistent positive reinforcement, even if it was just one source, just one, things could have been completely different. It's more than just don't be your child's first bully. It's more than just that. It's don't do the grooming for the predators. Don't do that. Do you want to groom your child? Because that's how you groom your child. Do you want to see them as an adult in abusive relationships and being treated like absolute dog shit? Do you want that for them as an adult? Like, even if you hate your child because they're a child, do you want them as an adult to be that way? If you can't give a fuck about their well-being and their self-esteem as a child, could you at least think about how you want them to be as an adult? Could you just keep that fucking vision in your head? Like, where's the disconnect? Did you forget what it was like to be a child? Do you want them to make it to adulthood? Because bullying has led to suicide. A lot. Like, I don't have the numbers, but it's a lot. You know how my mother reacted to what her response to, that one concerned teacher that was like, I think she's suicidal or whatever. When we went home, my mother told me the story of her suicide attempt when she was about 12. It was a year after her abortion. And she had gotten up, she had snuck out of bed, went down to the kitchen, and she just started and grabbed the kitchen knife and was over the sink, and she just started slashing at her wrist, right? But she lived or whatever. She didn't know anything about the correct direction to guarantee results type thing. She just went all crazy with it, like just haphazard, whatever, right? And she said to me, but that's because of what I went through. You didn't go through that. You don't have a right to feel that way. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that fucking lovely? Anyways. Yeah, that was that was her response. Like, you didn't have it as bad as I did, so you don't have a right to feel like that. Mother, you did the same thing, only worse. You decided to go above and beyond what Grandma did to you. Because at least Grandma just didn't fucking care. She didn't beat you into submission. Grandma was like, ugh, well, you shouldn't be so fast. Anyways, yeah. Being dismissive, even if you're not your child's first bully, being dismissive of what's happening to your child from other bullies or other people hurting them, That's not great either. Because look how my mother turned out and what she ended up doing to me as a result of just being dismissive. You have to be your child's first and biggest fan, their biggest cheerleader, and do it consistently. Because if you don't give a fuck, they could die. And it will be entirely your fucking fault. Don't be hands off when your child's going through bullying at school. Because if they do end up ending themselves, they could at least be like, hey, you did your best. But I just, you know what I mean? Don't be the reason your kid doesn't make it to adulthood. Don't be the reason why your kid makes it to adulthood but has no fucking clue how to function and keep themselves safe as an adult. How to recognize the signs for what they are, the red flags for what they are. Don't paint red flags green. Don't do that. Because if you are the kind of person, if you're the kind of quote unquote parent that that abuses your child, but you get pissed off if anybody else does it, you know what message that sends? It's, love means they're the only bully I'm allowed to have that's allowed to bully me. They're the only person, if somebody loves me, then that means allowing them to bully me and abuse me and nobody else. How is that any better? How is that good? What the fuck? I mean, y'all don't even think about it's like y'all get away from your own parents and then and I'm only talking to the abusive pieces of shit. You know that if it doesn't apply, let it fly. If you feel defensive, don't come to my comment section about that shit. I don't want to hear it. Like, that's between you and whatever. That's you. That's your business. I'm just talking to the abusive fucking parents. It's like as soon as they move away from their parents, as soon as they get out of their parents' household, they don't remember what it was like to be a child. They're like, nope, I was never a child. I was never a child. I just popped out of the womb. A fully grown adult, and I know better, and so should my child. Because how dare you be a child? The fuck is wrong with you people? The fuck is wrong with you people? And then getting permissive parenting confused with gentle parenting. Y'all got that black and white, all or nothing, it's either you abuse the fuck out of your child or you don't discipline them at all bullshit. You need to, it's like you lived your whole life and never learned nuance. Did you even try? No. Because if you tried, you wouldn't even, the whole point of healing, the only thing you need to do to heal is try and keep trying. That's what I'm doing. That's what anybody ever needs to do. It'll look different for each and every person. But if you keep trying, and that's how I know you didn't fucking try. And if you fucking sit there and tell me, well, I tried at one point, or I tried so many different times. No. No. Consistency. You need to consistently keep trying. And don't you dare tell me and don't come to me with any of your fucking mental illnesses as an excuse. Because let me tell you, people with borderline personality disorder have a really terrible reputation. And I have it. People I tell that to, they're like, based on that reputation, they're like, what? They're surprised. You're such a sweetheart. I'm like, well, I can't help it. Which is not entirely true. I can't help it. It is a choice I make every single fucking day to try and be the kind of person I really desperately needed in my life. This is how I know that the system is really fucked when it comes to, child safety, like CPS and all that shit. It's really fucked. They don't give a fuck about you or your kids. It only gives a fuck about what it thinks. Because how are you going to sit there and tell me that I am a wonderful mother and my kids deserve me and I deserve to have my kids, but refuse to give them back and tell me, oh, you're choosing him over your kids? I'm like, y'all left me out here floundering, drowning. The only person I know is this shark over here that consistently, kills me every fucking day. I go out there and I get torn apart. Because I don't know anyone else. I had no one else. It's like they completely forget. It's like they don't even take into account that abusers isolate. That is the only reason that it's allowed to continue, is because they will isolate you. And they're like, well, you should know better. Like, I couldn't know better. Is that what the fuck you want for your kids? All I knew, everything I learned about being a good person before meeting my two best offline friends, I learned from fiction. I wanted to be these fictional characters so bad. I was like, wouldn't it be lovely if the world had people like this in it? And so that's all I've tried to do and tried to be. Emphasis on the word tried, because it's really hard to consistently keep it up when the people around you are mistreating you. Sometimes you snap. Sometimes you fucking snap. And the reason why it really kills me is they didn't take me from my mother. Mandated reporters didn't give a fuck about the signs of abuse. I mean, they were all racist anyway. You know what? Let me stop. Because that's a whole other thing. Because how's my fucking white teacher going to put her hands on me and then I tell my mother and my mother not give a fuck either and nobody else gives a fuck and it's all my fault because the child should have known better. What is that? What even is that? The fuck is wrong with you? Anyway. That's it. That's it. That's all. I am the reason I didn't become a monster. I, unlike some other people, took inspiration from these fictional characters and did my best to hold on to the values I learned from them that I didn't learn from, quote unquote, real life. I remember making a comment on a post on Instagram where I said that anime saved my life, like literally. And somebody replied saying, anime saved your life? That's pretty fucking sad. And I replied, I said, yeah, it is pretty fucking sad when that was the only positive thing in my life at the time. And they deleted their comment. At least they felt bad enough to delete that, you know? This is why I believe that spirituality and science shouldn't be separated. They shouldn't be mutually exclusive. And why I believe that fiction and nonfiction are also not mutually exclusive. Because there's, like, I give credit where credit is due, because these authors and writers or whatever, they put it out there. They put it out there for people to consume and to take what they want from them, etc., etc. But it's up to us to actually do something about it, because, like, do something with that. Because just because it's there does not guarantee that people will do anything about it, like do anything with it, or let the lesson sink into their real life selves. Because just look at the fandom look at anime, fucking, Marvel, DC, like all the fandoms still, and gaming, like still rampant with racism and all the forms of bigotry, ableism, misogyny, misogynoir, fucking, transphobia, homophobia, all that stuff still exists a lot within fandoms, okay? So, no, I still get the credit with the fiction being an honorable mention. I did this. I made myself this way. I chose not to be what happened to me. Trauma didn't do that to me. Trauma just sucked and it shouldn't have happened. But I made myself who I am today. I chose to try. At the end of the day, it's me. My two best offline friends get a lot of credit. They get an honorable mention above the fiction, because the fiction showed me what could be. They showed me that, yeah, it's not just you. There's other people that can try too. We exist. And I could have chosen to push them away. And they could have chosen to let me. I mean, okay, I tried to push them away a little bit. Like, I kept trying, but they could have just let me. I could have chosen to keep pushing them away until, like, I could have chosen to do the most unspeakable things to make them never, ever want to forgive me and just be done with me. Just cut me out of their lives. I could have, but some of them I just couldn't bring myself to do. Like, it's not for lack of knowing what exactly to do to guarantee they will never want anything to do with me again. It's not for lack of knowledge. Trust me. But yeah, at the end of the day, I could have ignored all of that. And it took a lot of undoing. But they consistently, I would tell them what my mindset is and why this is how this is it. Like, no. And they're like, no, honey, what? No. Why would you think that? Well, you see, what had happened was, and they're like, I have no idea what the fuck to do with this, but I'm gonna keep trying. We had so much beef because I could not possibly fathom, like, I was raised to believe the whole all or nothing thing. You're either a good person or bad person, because they said this is just how it is. Bad people never do good things. Well, they do. Sometimes bad people do good things. Sometimes good people do bad things. Like, wait a minute. Wait, what? Like, do you have any idea how psychotic I felt trying to install that that knowledge into my brain, into my mind, trying to integrate that shit into my completely corrupted neuro makeup. Like the dissonance between what I believed could be possible and the fact that it actually is. It was wild. I wish I had all the videos from the first year that I've been documenting this healing journey, because y'all would see firsthand what that looked like. I looked psychotic. I felt completely out of my mind. I had several psychotic breaks trying to integrate this shit. It just wasn't computing until one day it did. And that doesn't go across the board. No, each and every little tiny itty bitty thing has to click into place. And then sometimes, because of the fact that my brain was trained to have, when I was a kid, I used to be like, well, yeah, but I used to have very flexible mindset or whatever, but I had it beaten into me to be mentally rigid. I had rigidity, inflexibility. I don't even know if rigidity is a word, but inflexibility. I had that. It was definitely nurture that did that to me. Because I was very oh, well, why not though? Why not though? I don't understand. Why can't this be the case? I'm self-diagnosed autistic, and I've only had a few experts, 3 to be specific, say that, hey, I think you are too, you should get assessed. But the only thing keeping me from an official diagnosis is I don't have $5,000, and I don't even have the several $100s a month to pay to break it up in their payment plan. That's another conversation. I'm just saying. I only bring that up because I question whether or not I am, based on the fact that I'm remembering how I was as a kid, and I still have a very rigid idea of autism that I'm still working on, because because you don't have to have all of the traits. You just have to have enough of the traits within the diagnostic criteria to get an official diagnosis. But I'm but isn't that one of the I don't know. I'm starting to ramble. I love you guys. I'm gonna go be dysfunctional and a little bit self-destructive now and just start drinking. I don't have enough left to get drunk. Don't worry. But I'm gonna go do that. Okay, love you. Bye.